Jim Culloty, and I'm thrilled to say Jim joins us on the line now. Good afternoon, Jim.
Hi, Martin.
And how are things looking over in County Cork? The celebration's still going strong, or have you managed to just dampen things down a little?
No, I had a good crack on Sunday. Obviously, Monday was St Patrick's Day, but I had runners at the point. And I was back to work for the week, but we're going to have organising a party there in a week's time. So, with all the lads in the yard and all the kind of locals and family and a bit of crack.
And just give us a flavour, Jim, of what it was like arriving back home on the back of that Gold Cup, where there must have been a great buzz around the yard.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, needless to say, everybody was absolutely over the moon. The whole village made a fortune and cleaned out the bookies. And I'm from Killarney in County Kerry, which again, Spring Hill cleaned out the bookies there on Thursday, not to mind Lord Windermere on Friday. So no, there's a lot of people have had a good weekend out of me anyway.
Good stuff.
Out of the horses, rather.
And more importantly, how's the horse come out of it, Jim? We may just have lost Jim for a second there. But there is the winning horse back in the yard, the Gold Cup there, with David Russell and the kids. They're all posing with the Gold Cup, and quite amusing to hear that everybody around the yard has been on at fancy prices. Sorry, Jim, we lost you there for a second. We're just wondering, how's the horse come out of the race?
Sorry, Martin, I was making a cup of tea and I muted you by accident.
Don't worry, it happens to me an awful lot.
No, both horses have come home very well, absolutely 100%. Spring Hill will run again this season because he likes fast ground, but Lord Windermere won't now. He's wrapping up in cotton wool and basically start working out a campaign for next season, obviously to end up at Cheltenham in March again.
He obviously seems to come alive, Jim, at Cheltenham and in the springtime, but what were your expectations heading into the race?
Oh, I'll be perfectly honest now, I did fancy him to run into the frame, and that's why we rode him the way we did, like, got ridden accordingly, and funnily enough, he just came right in the build-up. Like, I just had a bit of a nightmare of a season with him. Him particularly, he went over to Newbury for the Hennessy, and he kind of got interfered with down the back, and he was pretty sore and lame for a while after that, and he just wasn't sparkling, like, even though there was, I mean, he obviously got over that, and ran at Leopardstown then twice, and he was fine, like, there was nothing to say don't run him, like, I mean, he passed all the tests, scope clean, and bloods were good and all that, but he just for whatever reason wasn't sparkling, and in the build-up to Cheltenham, he just felt he was starting to come right. 10 days before Cheltenham, he still didn't look well in his coat, but kind of a couple of days before it, he started to really shine, and funnily enough, the morning of the race, we just gave him a little bit of exercise in the race course, and I said to, I was riding him, and my head lad was on another horse, and I just said, God, you know what, this horse hasn't given me this feel since before the Hennessy. So, you know, he came back to himself just in time.
Well, just in the nick of time, and a dramatic race. It must have been a real roller coaster of emotions for you, Jim, given the way that he was out the back for much of the race. He gets up to get his nose in front on the line, and then the dreaded steward's inquiry klaxon goes off. Yeah,
I mean, we've all heard various opinions on that, but I wouldn't like to comment. But basically, it was pretty trying. All right, we could have done without it. You know, it's a real anticlimax when your horse passes the post in front and you're absolutely over the moon and want to celebrate, and then ding dong, steward's inquiry, and you know, nobody wants to hear that. But look, we came out the right side of it, and thank God. Like, I think the best horse won on the day, myself, so I think it was fair enough. But at the same time, I would like to publicly thank Graham Wiley and All Connections on his own for not going with an appeal, because, you know, to just be dragging it on for everybody, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, indeed, yeah. I mean, sporting decision all round. And we saw some wonderful pictures of you, Jim. I don't know if we saw them at the time, of you willing the horse on in the closing stages. Was it frustrating in a way, given you've been to Cheltenham, you've ridden Gold Cup winners, that you've got your horses on the track about to go and lay his hand down the Gold Cup, but you can't actually do anything? You're on the sidelines as a spectator. It must be totally different to when you were riding the likes of Best Mate.
In one respect, it's great. You know, you can feel this. I mean, when I like to jockey up, really, my work is done. I can kind of watch the race, and I wouldn't go as far as to say I could relax and watch the race, but just it's out of my hands, you know what I mean? Whereas when you're riding a horse like Best Mate, for example, it's not really in your hands until you get up on the horse, and then it's in your hands for about 10 minutes, you know. So I used to put huge pressure on myself for those 10 minutes, like, as in the build-up. I'd be a nervous wreck. I didn't even want to talk to anybody or be sociable or anything, because it just you'd just be playing in your mind all the kind of working out the race and what could go wrong and how to avoid things going wrong, etc. And some jockeys are very relaxed about it, but I wasn't. I got hugely stressed about it. So no, I'm quite happy to be standing inside the paddock watching it, to be honest.
It's the same level of excitement and enjoyment and thrill there when you're training and riding a jockey, or are the experiences different?
Are they different? I suppose you just have a lot more of the organising to do, you know what I mean? Like, where I used to ride Best Mate, and you know, he won his Gold Cups, and then Hen would just say, see you in the yard at 10:30 in the morning, the press are coming, and I just rock up. I didn't have anything to do with the organising or anything, whereas I had to do all that myself this year. So I'll be honest with you, I came home from Cheltenham on Saturday, and I haven't had 5 minutes to myself since, you know what I mean? So whereas a jockey, you did kind of get off and hand over all responsibilities and go out and enjoy yourself, you know. But having said all that now, regarding enjoyment to have a winner, I wouldn't like to differentiate between the two, because I think train one, ride one, own one, which is pretty unlikely with my bank balance, but certainly, having anything to do with one directly involved is just unbelievable, because they are hard to come by.
And there must be a huge degree of satisfaction as well of preparing a horse for a race like that and actually managing to pull it off. And I remember you giving a wonderful quote after the race as well, saying you started training with the belief in maybe 20 or 30 years you'd win a Gold Cup, but you've achieved it in a relatively short space of time.
I was very lucky to get a horse to do it, and arguably I wasn't doing a great job of training him throughout the winter, but luckily got it right when it mattered, you know. But you can't do it without the horse, that's number one. And I am extremely lucky, because it did take me a few years to get the hang of this training job, you know. I thought it was, as a jockey, you go around the place riding for horses for people, and you can be critical. Some jockeys are more critical than others on the trainers, you know, saying, God, this one never has been fit, or that fella over races him, or that fella runs him over the wrong trip all the time, or whatever. But then you start training yourself, and I've no doubt the jockeys are saying that about me as well, you know what I mean? But to be honest with you, I have a plan with my horses, like, and it is a kind of a long-term plan, and I tend to buy. I don't buy horses off the flat. You know, we buy big, proper national hunt chasing types, and hopefully turn into Gold Cup horses or Grand National horses, and it's working, thank God.
And people were talking, Jim, of your season to date coming into the Gold Cup, but if you look back, you hadn't had all that many runners, had you, through the campaign itself?
No, but you have a yard full of babies, as in, like, a dozen 4-year-olds, a good few 5-year-olds, few mostly unraced, and literally a handful of horses that can actually go to war, you know what I mean? So, you know, even if I was having a great time, but like, I saw a thing in the paper today, actually. I've had 3 winners out of 30 odd runners. Well, that's kind of 10% strike rate. Well, actually, a lot of trainers have that all the time, you know what I mean? And they'd be considering themselves doing fine, and whereas I thought it was a bit disappointing throughout the winter there, just ran a few horses disappointed a bit. But to be honest with you, even if the horses were absolutely flying throughout the whole winter, I probably wouldn't have had 10 winners anyway, because I just don't have the horses to run, you know.
And I guess if you look at strike rates, your strike rate at Cheltenham's pretty phenomenal now. An RSA, a Gold Cup, and Spring Heel scoring as well.
Yeah, I I bought a new lorry last week. I'm going to paint it on the back. Jim Culloty, all roads lead to Cheltenham. I think I'd better run them anywhere else.